get our inverse equation written out so that we can solve this. Now remember, we're going to have two steps. So our organizer still works the same way. You still have your same way organizer, your start, change, and finish. It works the same way, it's just this time we're going to have two steps. As in the past, their change was always just a variable. In this case, it's still going to be the variable, but it's going to be something added with it. Now I'm going to show you what I mean here in a second, okay? So the first things you need to do is remember, looking at our problem, is 2x minus 6 equals 2. And so we need to be able to figure out what can we times by 2 and then subtract 6 to get the answer to be 2. So the first thing we need to find out is what our finish is. I'm going to highlight the finish in yellow, and there it is. The finish is going to be 2. That's what we're trying to get to. The next thing what we're trying to do is what are we starting with? Well, I know that I'm starting with, the start is going to be the number that I'm starting with. Nothing that's changing the value. I'm starting with a negative 6. He goes in my start value. A negative 6. Okay? Then obviously I've got something that's left. I've got a 2 and an x. That's 2 times x. And so that is my change. That 2x is changing this equation to get to the finish. So I have a 2x. Okay? So now I have my organizer set up, and I can be able to solve this problem. And I do the same thing. I'm going to start with the start, go to the finish. That's my first step. My second step is then I need to move the change over to the finish. And then I can be able to figure out what my variable equals. So remember, my first step was to either add or subtract. So I have a negative 6 here, so I need to bring him over by doing the opposite of subtract, which is add. So I get 2 plus 6 gives me 8. Now, I'm not done yet because this 2x is still left over. He is still left over. I need to get rid of this because I need the x by himself. I need the variable by himself. I still have 2. My equation now is 2 times something gives me 8. So I need to get rid of this by doing the opposite of times. So I bring him over by doing the opposite of times, which is divide. I find out that now my answer is going to be my x is left over because the 2 goes away. I just bring the 2 over. It's going to give me 8 divided by 2, which is 4. And so my answer there is going to be x equals 4. I should always check it out. Let's check it out to see if it's correct. So I'm going to substitute in the 2 into this x. And let's see if we get the answer to be 2. So I have 2 times 4 minus 6. It should give me 2. Let's see what happens. 2 times 4 is 8. So I have 8 minus 6 now. 8 minus 6 is 2. That does equal 2, so I'm good. I've solved the problem and I've checked it. Get used to using the organizer and checking it back out to see what happens. Okay? The next one here is 10 equals 15 plus 5x. I want to solve for the letter x, the variable x, to find out what can I multiply by 5, add 15 to it, and end up with 10. So I set up my organizer, my start, change, and my finish. And I know here that my finish is what it equals. It's equaling a 10, so it's going to be right there. I'll put it in pink this time. Pretty in pink. Okay? My start is what am I starting with? What is the information they're giving to me that I'm starting with? I'm starting with a 15. And my last step there is my change. My change is going to be the variable, but in this case, I have to include, remember from like terms, I have to include the 5x there with me. Okay? And so I need to figure out what am I doing now to get this problem solved. Okay? So I've got a 15, I got a 5x or 5 times x, and I got a 10. So you go back up here and you remember that my first step is either going to be an add or subtract. My second step would be divide or multiply. So here's my organizer, I have it set up. Look at the 15 in your problem here, the blue 15. What type of 15 is that? Is it a negative? Is it a positive? What's a positive 15? So I need to know, I know that I need to do the opposite of plus, bring him over, which is going to be subtraction. So here's my inverse right here. 10 minus 15 is going to give me negative 5. But I still have yet to solve for x, because right now I've got 5 times x equals negative 5. And I don't want that. I want to know what x is by himself. So I need to get rid of this 5. And remember, I'm either going to divide or multiply. This means multiply. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Is division. So that 5 comes over, not the x, but just the 5, because I get rid of it, because that 5 is being multiplied by the x. So to undo the multiplication there, you have to divide. So the 5 comes over. Negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. So my x equals negative 1. Okay? My answer is negative 1. And let's check it out to see if I got it right. So I put it back in here. 10 equals 15 plus 5 times negative 1. Let's see if we got it right. Well, 5 times negative 1 is negative 5 plus 15. 5 plus negative 15, or 5 minus 15, is 10. And those match up. Got it right. You can check me on my calculator, but I know we have it right now. Okay. Let's flip it over. We got some word problems here to look at. Word problems do the same thing. Just set it up. Find out what's happening. What's doing the change. Okay, it's very important to be able to know where you start at, where you're trying to get to, and how we're going to change to find this out. And inside your math problems, it gives you a lot of keys on how to find those out. And that's what this organizer does. It helps set it up so that you can be able to write the equation. Okay, so here's our first one that we have. It says, Shanice won 88 pieces of gum playing a beanbag toss at the country fair. At the school, she gave 4 to every student in her math class. She only has 8 remaining. How many students are in her class? So I'm trying to find out how many students are in her class. That's what I'm trying to figure out. How many students are in the class? Because she gave 4 pieces of bubble gum to everybody in her class. She had 88. She gave 4 to every student in her class. She has 8 remaining. So where did she end up? What did she finish at? So let's find this out. So she has only 8 remaining. So she finished up at 8. That's what it equals. She was nice enough to give away her pieces of gum. How many did she start off with? Well, she tells us right up here that she won how many pieces? She won 88 pieces of gum. That's going to be my blue, so make sure you underline it there, highlight it or something. So you won 88 pieces of gum. Now, if you win 88 pieces of gum, is it going to be positive or negative? I don't think you can win negative 88 pieces of gum. What does that be? Already chewed pieces of gum, I guess. So in this case, it's going to be 88. So we have a positive 88. We need to now know what our change is. Okay? We already know what our variable is. We're looking for students. But what did she do? What did she do with the students? She did something with the students. If I look back in my sentence here, it says at the school she gave 4 to every student, or 4 to each. That word every and each right there. That word every and each means multiplication. So I write it out by doing 4 in my variable. I'm going to pick S for students. That's 4 times S. So I've set up my problem. And to show you what it looks like, this is what it looks like. I've got 88 plus 4S equals 8. That's what we're solving right there. Okay? You just wrote your equation right there. We'll do our same steps. Add or subtract first, then multiply and divide. It comes over by doing subtraction. It's actually going to give me a negative number there, so I'm going to get negative 80 in this case. All right. So what happens next is I then have my number here is 4S. I'm going to divide by 4. It's going to tell me that S is going to give me 20. So she has 20 students in her class there at the school. Okay, she has 20 students at the school there for her. Okay, she has 20 students. Okay, on to the next one about Cody's bikes. She rents bike. He rents. So let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and make an organizer for us. Start changing our finish. Cody's bikes rents at $18 plus $5 per hour. Jean paid $48 to rent a bike. For how many hours did she rent a bike? Okay. Well, let's figure it out. How much did she end up paying? We want to know, what did she start paying? What is going to change the way that she's paying in this case? We want to know, how many hours did she use to rent a bike? That's the big thing, is finding hours. That's going to tell us where our change is going to be at too, because we're looking for hours. So where's the hour going to be at? So let's look at it here. So Jean paid $48. So that's right there is what she ended up paying. Her finish, 48 bucks. Okay. How much did she spend at the beginning? Once you start at the beginning, you had to pay $18 up front. And it's $18 up front. It's a lot. So it's a plus 18. Then the changes, we're looking for hours. She spent $18 plus $5 per hour. There's that time. That word per means again. That means times. So we're going to times it there for B. We'll put B. I'm sorry. We're looking for H for hours. So my equation there is 5H plus 18 equals 48. And I can be able to solve my problem here and get my answer. Okay? So let's solve what we've got. I got to subtract this over here. And then I need to be able to go from there. Okay? So if I subtract this over by the opposite of addition, I'm going to get 30. Remember, I still have the 5 times the h. So I have 30 when I moved him over. Now I have 5 times h. Got to get rid of the 5 again. Remember, because it's multiplied. So the opposite of multiply is divide. And I find out that my answer is going to be h is going to be equal to 6. So she spent 6 hours renting her bike. That's why it cost her 48 bucks. Okay? The last one that we're going to do here with you is an example that you can use, that you're looking for, is this one. It says Angeline spent half of her weekly allowance at the movies. To earn more money, her parents let her clean the windows in the house for $5. What is her weekly allowance if she ended with $8? So we're going to put start, change, and finish. And we'll just take a look at what she did. Okay? So she ended up with her weekly allowance. She ended up here with $8. You want to know, she ended up with $8. That's my finish. She ended up with 8. We want to know what her weekly allowance is. Okay, so that's going to be somewhere with my change. And what did she end up starting off with? Well, we know the information that we can have to start. What's some information to help us get started in this? She gets $5 for cleaning windows. You know, it's a positive 5 because you're going to get money to clean windows. So that's going to be my start. Let's underline that right there. And the last part is she said she spent half her weekly allowance at the movies. So what's half mean? How can we represent what half is? Okay, we're going to represent that with a fraction. 1/2 of her allowance. Let's say A for allowance. And that is times in that case. All right. Or if you wanted to write it out, you can do 1/2 A, or you can do it A over 2, A divided by 2. Doesn't matter to me whichever way. Each way works the same way. I'm going to leave it as A divided by, I'm going to leave it as this case right here. You can leave it as that, okay? Either or would be fine. This right here is going to be division, so you need to multiply at the end. This is times, so you need to divide at the end. Either way works for me. It doesn't work, it's still going to give you the same answer. So you need to move the 5 over here by subtracting. So when you subtract the 5 over, you're going to get, this goes away, and you end up with 3. Okay, so I'm going to come over here now. So I got this to be 3. So now I got 1/2 times A is equal to 3. Okay, 1/2 equal to 3. Well, I need to now know to do the opposite of times, which is divide by 1/2. Or in this case, if I did this one, this is division, so I do the opposite, which is times. So if I multiply by 2 or divide by 1/2, I should get the answer to be A is going to be equal to 6. So she gets $6 in her monthly allowance. And her equation will look something like this. You can write it out both ways. 1/2 A plus 5 is equal to 8. Or you can write it as A divided by 2 plus 5 equals to 8. Okay? Either one of those is your good equation that you can use. So those are your two-steps equations. Use these to help you out when you work on your warm-up paper, your paper that you're going to be using for your practice. That is going to be useful for you to be able to test out. Remember these steps. You add first or subtract, then divide or multiply. Okay? You can always refer back to this video and always refer back to your notes. Ask for help if you need to. Thanks.